So first, a little bit introduction about the two presenter. I'm Ling. Actually, currently I'm a language lecturer in Xi'an Liverpool University, like Daniel and Phoebe. I'm currently teaching year one students. So before they came here, the student need to take the placement test, and then there will be the students will go to the different streams based on their language levels. Currently, I'm teaching the intermediate students. And my partner today, Sam, would you like to say hi to everyone?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Lin. Yeah, I'm co-presenting the session today. I'm actually now teaching Year 2 EAP module at Xi'an Liverpool University. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So first, actually, we would like to have an interactive activity with you guys. As you can see here on the screen, I give you a quote, but I take away one word from it. The sentence would be, you can't use that word. The more you use, the more you have. I think today we have different specialties or different students from around the world. So I think you do not need to think about the correct answer. Okay, there's no right or correct answer, just any words appear in your mind. So would you like to put your words or phrases in the chat box? Okay, let's see your responses. Oh, energy. Yeah, I love this one. Oh, love. Great. And money. Okay. So as you can see here, we have different types of answer. Let me go back to my screen here. Actually, for example, for me, I would put up like muscle because I've been doing the weightlifting for 1 year to train my body. So we have the different answer here. Actually, the original quotes would be you can use up creativity. Okay, one of the keywords for today. And at the beginning of our presentation, we would like to discuss about some myths around creativity. So, for example, one of them would be only creative people are the creative people are those special ones. There are some skills they were born with. Actually, it's not. Creativity is some kind of skills that could be trained. So, for example, if you like watch movie, you may know Woody Allen, the famous film director. The creative people like him, he also need to think of some ways to keep himself continuously generating creative ideas. Okay, and today's session would include three parts. First one, what is creativity? Second, why is it? Why we talk about it? And third one, because we are language teacher, so how does it work in the language classroom? So today we would like to introduce several hands-on activity. Hope that could be useful for you and can be used in your future language classroom. So first, what is creativity? From Oxford Dictionary, a very simple definition would be the use of imagination or original ideas to create something. And there's one more specific one, the generation, again, about the ideas or the solution. But they mention about it could be used to solve a certain problem or in a given situation. There is one more specific definition, a little bit similar with this one, creativity activity. This one is from the famous psychologist Alan Muir. He pointed out that we can solve many problems just by simple routines, but there are some which require a different approach. For example, creativity. And then why creativity here? First, of course, it can boost in imagination. And second, it's good for personal well-being. It can also help our student to foster curiosity and be more open about the surroundings. Of course, when our students enter the society in the workplace, they can discover some new things or help the economic growth. As a language teacher, we cannot deny that the communication itself is creativity. The creativity is accomplished in and through the discourse, that is, the words, the sentences, the genres used by individuals to communicate with one another. And when we talk about how to use creativity to solve problems, no matter in the language classroom or the workplace, maybe we need to know the mechanism, the process of it. And today we would like to take the CPS process from Osborne. And actually, this process has been developed and applied in multiple disciplines, like mathematics, science, and English as second language. As you can see here in this flowchart, this whole process could be divided into two stages. The first one, we need to clarify and identify problem, research it, and then generate as many as ideas as possible. So in the first stage, usually the divergent thinking take a very important role here. And the second stage is you need to select the best ones to assess their potential values, refine and improve your ideas. In this section or stage, convergent thinking would be very important. So at the very beginning later, I would introduce 4 activities that involves divergent thinking. And then Sam, my partner today, co-presenter, he is going to present some activities related with convergent thinking. Before we think about any activity we can use in the classroom, maybe we can find some rubrics for what could be a good activity that foster the development of the creative skills, or we can foster a positive learning environment for our students. As you can see here in this figure, this is the results from the Cambridge University, the co-work. Actually, for example, the role of the teacher. Maybe we need to challenge our students, not always guide our students. And in the middle, as you can see here in the figure, these are some key elements for foster a positive learning environment. On the left side, we call it low functioning classroom, and the right side is high functioning classroom. So first, I have to say that this is not to suggest that a low-functioning classroom environment is inherently flawed. There are sometimes the direct lecture-based teaching approach is very suitable for our students. However, if this becomes the primary of the sole teaching method used, it does not sufficiently engage most of our students. Okay, so when we look at the high-functioning environment or for the classroom atmosphere. For us, for example, when I teach year 1 students, maybe it's not very realistic for me to change the time and space, as you can see here, the third one and the fourth one. But we may focus on some of the elements here. So for example, the approach to tasks. So how we can create some group activities and let our students to see the process of their work. It also would be better if the activities we used in the classroom can acknowledge some emotion from our students and let our students to self-manage themselves. And we can also provide some continuous reflection opportunity to our students. Okay, and then when we talk about divergent thinking, you may think about some words like ideation or brainstorm. For this stage, usually we go for quantity and do not give any judgment to our students at this stage because we are seeking for the wild ideas. And it would be better if we can let our students combine and build their ideas. Sometimes I will do some peer observation, and also when I reflect on my own teaching, I notice that there are some killer phrases may discourage our students to have a lot of ideas. So for example, if the teacher say, sorry, that's not relevant to today's topic, or especially about academic writing, if we say, oh, that is too imaginative for academic writing, actually those words or phrases may discourage our students from thinking or generate a lot of new ideas or creative ideas at the beginning. And for activities I would like to include, as you can see here on the screen, and let's go for the first one. I know maybe you have already used some of them or adapt some of the activities in your own teaching. So we would love to hear your voices, your experiences at the end of today's presentation. First, a 30-circle challenge. Actually, you can give your students a worksheet like this one on the right side. This task is to turn as many as a circle as possible into recognizable objects or symbols, for example, in 3 minutes. And the outcome of our students would be like this one. They can be very creative. They can make the circles into animals or some sports equipment. The rules is very simple, just 2 of them. Be creative, and there is no limits. The student can even combine the circles. So for example, combine 5 of them to make an Olympic rings or make any patterns. As you can see here, this activity would be an icebreaker activity for the first class or end of semester activity. As a language teacher, we may always think about how we can embed the language in those kind of activity. In this case, there could be some adapted version of this game. For example, we can change it to themed circle challenge. We can set a specific theme for the circles, such as nature or technology or AI, and students can do it in a collaborative way. For example, each student adds one element to each circle and passing the sheets around so everyone can have put their own effort in it. If we want to have more language output, it could also be a story circle. After completing all of the circles, we can have the students create a short story that connects all the images they have created just now. And the next activity is incomplete figure test. It's a drawing activity. Like you can see here in the middle of the screen, you can get the students get started with a simple shape, like a half circle or loop. Every student can use the same shape to turn it into a complete picture based on their own thinking or experiences. And students can see each other's interpretation, which may spark some new ideas or boost the creativity. For me, sometimes the adapted version of this game, I would do like a revision activity. So for example, last week, our topic is food and diet. One of the new words for my students is, by the way, all of the students in my classroom, they are Chinese students. And one of the target word, which is difficult for them, would be avocado. They all know the Chinese, but they don't know the English one. After they learn it in the second class, I would give each student some slice of papers, and on each slice of paper, there is a new word we learned yesterday. So for example, if the students got this paper who written like avocado, first they can think about the image in their mind. Okay, and then they can draw an incomplete figure. They can show this figure to their partner and let the partner guess what is the word. Maybe there will be some interesting results or help students to have a more engaging environment to remember words. Because at the very beginning of this semester, I asked my students, do you think remember those vocabulary is difficult? The answers are always, yes, we can forget it very easily. And the third activity is called quote completion. Actually, we have already did it at the beginning of today's presentation. It could be used as a warm-up activity at the beginning of each week or each unit. We can pick some quotes that is related with the unit topic. So for example, this is the last semester. I did it in week 7. The topic is animals. This is something I do on Padlet. The reason why I use Padlet because I think it's a very convenient tool which can share, can let every student share their answers on one screen, so everyone can see each other's answer very easily. Until one has loved what a part of one's soul remain on the weekend. There are some answers from my students. As you can see here, they have different background or hobbies or interests, so their answers varied. At this stage, again, I emphasize to my students, there is no right or wrong answer, just write the one you think is proper. After that, usually in my classroom, I would like students to share the reasons why they put these words or phrases in this on this line, in this blank. Actually, in this situation, the students, there's a very good situation for them to share their interests with each other, as which can build a good rapport for the whole classroom. And if we can have the good rapport, I think it would be easier for us to introduce the later concepts for our students. And if you are teaching the students who are at a more advanced level, because I'm currently teaching the intermediate students whose level is CFR A2 to B1, if you are teaching more advanced students, you can use some more abstract things, for example, like this one, especially those related with literature or culture or ethics. You can choose a quote from the famous literature work or political speech. After this game, the students can also have the reflection part. They can think about what does freedom mean to them personally, and how does their completion reflect their understanding of this topic. And the last activity I would like to introduce today is one-line emotional practice. When we teach our students about intonation, actually the students can also brainstorm some emotions. So how we are going to do that? For example, we can give students a very simple sentence at the beginning. For example, I can't believe it. And the students, they try to use as many different emotions as possible. They can exaggerate their tones, facial expressions, to have fun in this game. And other students just guess, oh, what is the emotion there? And then they can change the roles, do the same thing again, but of course with different emotions in their minds. Okay, so these are the 4 activities I would like to introduce. And then Sam are going to take over from here to talk about convergent thinking.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Lee. I'm now sharing my screen here. Right. I'll just play. All right. Thank you. So it's a bit different from divergent thinking. For convergent thinking, it normally involves we do carefully evaluating the ideas or the activities or even the groups, and we compare between different pieces of, for example, if we do puzzles, and then we combine all the pieces of puzzles into one big picture. And also it talks about the critical thinking as well. So basically we'll just go through the 3 activities for convergent thinking. The first one, there's no fancy name, just called grouping and connecting. Basically, for example, in my context, I'm teaching year 2 engineering students. So they have lots of actually discipline-specific vocabulary, and we don't really teach that many vocabularies in the classroom. But when we prepare them for the discussion topics or for any assessment-related tasks, so we could do this kind of grouping and connecting, help them to review the vocabularies here. For example, you just ask them to group 20 or 30 that the vocabularies that we've covered in the seminars into a specified number of categories. For example, you can use the empty buckets. And for example, in my classroom, we have some glass walls. So normally I would just like them to write or draw or even categorize the vocabularies on the glass wall. And we cap that wall for the whole class. That could be the first one. Adaptation. That's for review and preparation. So Lynn and I were teaching pre-sessional courses during the summer. There was one revision activity actually that was right before their final speaking assessment. So that session was encouraging us to recall or to remember what they've learned from the previous presentation lessons. So that could be the other activity. For example, we've taught some strategies like, okay, so during the discussion, you can clarify the meaning, you can check your understanding, you can encourage others to join the conversation. So those could be the title or the bucket title, and then students group or connect those languages or expressions into different buckets. The other one, actually, I didn't know about the names before I actually saw my students' work. So it's called sketchplanations. Students could actually sketch a sentence, or they sketch their comprehension of something. I could show you one example before we start this page. So this is actually something we started from week 1. But before each session, not every session, but for some of the session, I invited students to draw something. For example, could be their weekend plan, or what they've done in the past week, or what's the goal for this week. So they actually started to draw something, to sketch something, and then I've learned the words sketchplanation, and then we start to develop this idea into a more organized activity. So we did something in week 1. We introduced the SMART goal setting, the 5 requirements of how to smartly set your goals for the whole pre-sessional courses. And then actually we want them to connect with the people who set the same goals with them. So when they finish their poster, they stick the poster on the wall, and after that they try to start to find any similar or any same, or that means they've set the goal for their whole PSC session. They start to talk with the people who share the same goals or similar goals. That could be one adaptation, that also connecting a grouping people in a way. And also that could be used for review and test their understanding. For example, we had assessment component called SDS, I can't remember, SDS or SDP. It's about the discussion, seminar yes, SDS, it's called seminar discussion. All right, so you can use sketchplanation to test their understanding and try to find the connection and how they're grouping the rules or the requirements of that task as well. So these are the sketchplanations that my students join during the seminars. The other adaptation, even for today, because I've noticed that during the past weeks, or I don't know exact the number, but for example, you can even try to sketch something even for today's 4 sessions. See if you can find any links or any connection between the 4 sessions. So if you like to draw anything, you like to do anything, you can do screenshots of this page, and then you can share with us later. As time limits, we don't have time for you to draw anything during the session. The second and the third one is actually about storytelling. I've told students from arts, technology, and engineering. So storytelling is quite a popular word for most of the students there. Basically, students receive some story fragments or some even research findings that they have to connect and organize them into a logical narrative or argument. The other one, actually, we did this one at the last session of the pre-sessional courses. It's called story cubes. You can draw your own cubes, or you can buy the cubes from Amazon, I guess, or online websites. So use dice or cubes with images on each side, and students roll the cubes and create a story incorporating the images shown. So still they're trying to connecting the images or the dice they've received. So these are the 3 activities that related to convergent thinking. Just one last thing for today's takeaway. I'll just talk about the last one. Even though we've been talking about the diversity, the creativity in the classroom, but we don't really assess their creativity. We still assess their language and skills. So the last point, evaluate students on their language proficiency and skills development, not on the creativity of their ideas. And of course, we always maintain a light atmosphere. We do keep the classroom environment relaxed and enjoyable to inspire creativity. Yeah, I think that's all from our session reference page. Thank you so much for your listening.